Hi there and welcome to Focus on Frisco. You're watching SCTV. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got a great show ahead. We have another new member of Town Council here in the town of Frisco. Rick Ihnken is joining us, and another new member of the planning team. So stay with us right here on Focus on Frisco. Welcome back to Focus on Frisco. Thanks you guys so much for joining us. As promised, I have Rick Ihnken here joining me. Rick, you just got elected to Town Council here in the town of Frisco.
I did. I was appointed after Larry was unable to fulfill his term, and I'll be on for 2 years. I'm excited to do it.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So when Rick mentions that he's going to be on for 2 years, it's because he filled a position that was vacated, and then after those 2 years, you can decide if you want to run again.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Well, congratulations and welcome.
Thanks.
Let's talk a little bit about your background. We'll find out a little bit who you are. I know a lot of people got familiar with you during the campaign process, which is always interesting. I love it when they have the talk where everybody answers all the questions, and it's fascinating.
It was a learning moment all the way around.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good. So you've been in the county since the mid-90s.
Yep, 95.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And what brought you here from where?
I grew up in New Jersey, and I went to school in Vermont. And I was a kayaker and ski patroller back east, and I wanted to come out here because I knew there was something bigger than the Poconos.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little. Gosh, we hear that a lot. Even my husband's from the East Coast, and that's exactly what he said, was this was the place to be. So you came out, got settled, and you were you a firefighter? So you work with the West Metro Fire
I
Department.
do. I work with West Metro Fire in Lakewood, Colorado, and I came out here as a paramedic. I was a paramedic in New Jersey.
Correct.
I worked for the county ambulance,
and
then subsequently for Flight for Life after that, and now I've been with West Metro for 15 years.
15 years.
And I commute back and forth. I do 2 days on and 4 days off. And my wife is here at the community care clinic as a nurse practitioner.
Fantastic.
We love it.
You love it, yeah. And so you're obviously living in town because you're with Town Council.
Yep.
And what made you decide on Frisco? And all of these, the reason I'm asking all these questions is because it kind of feeds into why you decided to look into becoming a council member.
Sure. We chose to live in Frisco because of its location in the center of the county. We have access to all the ski areas because that's our primary pursuit in the winters.
Right.
I still do patrol up at Arapahoe Basin a couple days a week.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah. My wife's at the medical office building, so we're in the Peak One neighborhood, so we're just a mile away from work for her. Our son's close to school. And it's a great location for me to get back and forth to work conveniently. And we like the community. That's why I moved here.
Yeah.
I was moving to another place. I came out here with family who have had a place here for years. And I said, I'm moving here because of 300 days of sun and the beautiful scenery we get to live in Frisco every day.
Tell you what, we picked a key day to stand out here and talk because it is gorgeous. These are the days that we love, right?
Right? Oh, man.
All right, so you're in town. You know, you've got a son who's involved in the school district, and so as you've been here for 20 some years now. Why now? Why did you decide in 2016 that this was the year for you to really take on this challenge?
So up until 2011, when we moved to the town of Frisco, we've always lived in parts of unincorporated county.
Okay.
So I've always had an interest in government and how it works.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be part of the process, and I wanted to learn as I go.
Yeah.
And just take the information in, make a decision, and work with the group that I'm working with. So this was an opportunity, living in an incorporated town, that I saw an opportunity to run, and I see Frisco having some good change coming in the future. I think that I can be a good voice for the members of the community.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting, and you came in 95, I came in 97, and it is unbelievable the changes that have occurred even in just that 20 some years. And as you look forward, you know, as you ran, your platform was really focused on three things, two of them being the transportation center, and I really want to get into that, as well as Lake Hill, and what Lake Hill certainly translates to is housing.
Right.
All right, so let's start with the transportation center. What about that it became something that you were passionate about?
So the transportation center, it's a county project, but it's in the middle, closely to the center of town.
Right.
And we're in a position of the town of Frisco to partner with the county through this project, creating greater access to the retail space that it's going to be close to, while at the same time it's going to be bringing more folks into the community, because as it grows, there's going to be increased services out there, whether it be shuttle services to and from Denver, or rental car services, or other transfer station for the summit stage. So we're going to see a lot more of traffic coming through there, which is going to account to numbers of people. And as part of town of Frisco, it's an opportunity for us to drive with the county how that's going to look and how we can incorporate those visitors into our community.
Right. You know, it's interesting. Just a couple weeks ago, I was down in Denver looking at the future of metro mobility, and it was a conference. And they had talked, and certainly this is on a smaller scale, but they talked about how years ago they planned the airport and what it was going to do. And they were like, this is going to be fine. And it's not. And we look at the transfer station, and it's I'm guessing that, you know, as we start to grow and so quickly, everybody thought this is going to be fine. But
right. It's working. It's I've seen the county gave a presentation to us at council about how they see it growing over the years, and it is a phased-in program. I believe it's 5 phases.
Okay.
And that's going to happen over the course of several years. It's not going to be a one foul swoop.
Right.
But it'll be incremental, and one of the last phases of that is potentially looking for a corridor to get folks from the transfer center, because it's on the same piece of land,
right,
but into the shopping areas that are in right there, and getting folks into that walking and biking corridor, whether it be the base camp area or over by the lake.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. Well, and I like how you're really touching on bringing people into, because that's really important for our sales tax base, for our lodging, all of the above, and certainly getting people to where they need to be. Not everybody's that lives in Frisco is going to work in Frisco, and not everybody that's visiting is going to stay here the whole time, although we would love that.
Right.
But yes, so that access to everywhere and making it a lot more functional.
Which is we could go into Lake Hill now, in that the transportation center is going to be impacted by Lake Hill. So Lake Hill project, they're still working through what that's going to look like as far as size and numbers. The location is obviously set. They're looking at infrastructure right now.
And I'm going to pause you for just a second. For anybody who's just joining us for the first time, maybe you're visiting, the Lake Hill project is a project that has been slated to do higher density housing. Housing that's going to be able to accommodate the workforces.
Workforce housing is what's driving it right now. We've identified through all the communities in the county that we are well behind our curve as far as meeting the needs of our workforce, and we have a lot of folks commuting into the county from Park County, from Lake County, from Georgetown, and we want to bring them closer into the community so that the businesses have a better pool to pull from for workforce.
Yeah.
Right now there's businesses lessening their hours due to lack of staff. So the workforce housing projects throughout the county, this just happens to be the one closest to the town of Frisco.
Right.
It is a county sponsored project, and those numbers are going to be somewhere between 200 to 400 housing units, and those are the numbers that the county's still working out, but those folks are going to be coming into our community and using our services, and that's going to be part of they're going to be impacting on that transportation center, so we want to look at how we can get those folks there fluidly without interrupting traffic. And this is another good opportunity to talk about as the Highway 9 expansion project continues down from from Iron Springs, where it is now. That's going to come right through town. So we don't want to lose any access to our businesses, and we want to increase the usages for not only the folks coming to the transportation center, as I've already said, but also we want to make it a user-friendly interface with the folks over at Lake Hill, which is just off the Dam Road, in case you were wondering where that location is.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. All those things just kind of flow into each other.
They do.
And really all of them impact the others. And it's fascinating, you know, as we start to, you look up and down, this is our busiest time, and we are seeing people who have to cut their hours because it is so hard to find housing. And it's, you know, for you to mention Georgetown, I forget that people drive up from Georgetown. Yeah, and during the winter on those crazy busy days, it's a little tough to do sometimes.
Crazy busy days. I've spoke to folks who actually are coming over from Eagle County as well. So they're coming from all direction to get here because it's such a great place to work, and they really want to live here. So we're looking as a group, meaning all towns and county together, the partnership to create those housing units we need.
Phenomenal and super exciting.
Yes.
So as we talk a little bit about this, you know, certainly this county is based on tourism. This is what it is. This is, and I see that you focus on that, but really a lot of your focus is on those working families. You're a working family, we're a working family. What is it about that is so important to you?
So being part of the town of Frisco and the community that we are, within the town charter is that it's a community-based town, and that's how we want to keep it. So as we want to provide services for our visitors, but we also want to provide a comfortable and enjoyable place for folks to live and work who live here, because that's why folks want to come to Frisco and want to live in Frisco. I mean, we have the peninsula, we have a wonderful trail system that we're working on right now. We're working on connectivity of our bike paths to get the kids from one end of town to the schools on either side of town. So in being a working family and being a member of the community that works full-time, I think it's my stance is that I want to see how these projects are going to impact how we get around town and our qualities of life, while not increasing, or limiting the cost to the community at large. And we can do that by utilizing our resources, which are our visitors. So we want to also bring that, they're going to come, so we want to provide good services and utilize the resources they bring to the community to service all of us.
And what's interesting is as you live here, you also work over at Arapahoe Basin. So I'm sure you're hearing firsthand from people who come up and go, this is amazing, I would love to live here. And probably you get that really kind of personalized discussion about transportation and bikes and paths and things like that. And that's going to be, I think, really helpful as you move into this town council position, because you're going to have that insight not only from living here, but talking with those people on a regular basis.
That's my goal, and that is my objective, is to be engaged within the community, not only the community that lives here, but also our visitors, and see how we can get them around. How do we get folks to the peninsula Tubing Hill in a safer, more coordinated fashion in the winters?
You bet.
That sort of thing. And I see folks coming up to the basin on the summit stage, which is great. So we're seeing that connectivity come through.
That's awesome.
But I wanted to focus specifically on Frisco itself and how we can just increase our services without overdoing our services, while at the same time keeping that small town feel.
Big fine line.
Yes, it is.
It really is. Well, Rick, this is exciting. I've heard that you've been in town hall talking with the different departments. And that's really exciting to hear, so you can get that knowledge and understanding of how everything works.
The staff here at the town of Frisco has been wonderful to work with. They've been super receptive, and man, I couldn't ask for a better crew of folks to work with.
So
and
cool.
I'm just trying to get as much information as I can, so that when it comes down to decision time, I have the most information I can to make the right choice for the town of Frisco and the folks who live here.
That's awesome. That being said, would you like to let everybody know when your town council meetings are and how people can get a hold of you if they have questions?
Sure. Our town council meetings are the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. They're at 7 p.m. They're here at Town Hall. If you pardon me, if you want to contact myself or any other town council member or the mayor, we can be contacted through the website. We all have links to our email addresses through the town, and phone numbers are on there. And you can always call the town and ask for how to find us. All of us have cards with phone numbers on them there. They can get you to us if you have any questions or concerns that we can help you with.
That sounds good. And of course, the town website for the government side is, friscogov.com, and 668-5276 is the number directly over here to Town Hall, and they can connect you anywhere you need to be. Well, thank you very much, Rick. Always great to see you. We appreciate your time. And speaking of that amazing staff, we are going to be introducing Katie Kent, who's coming. She's one of the new new members of the planning department. So stay with us right here on Focus on Frisco. Thanks for sticking with us here on Focus on Frisco. I'm Shannon Fallon, and this is Katie Kent. Nice to meet you, Katie.
Nice to meet you,
and welcome. So Katie is the new planner in the Community Development Department. How long have you been with the department now?
I have been there about 3 weeks.
Wow,
so
you are brand new.
Yes.
Everything's all sparkly and pretty
so
still.
far, great.
Exactly. Well, that's exciting. So let's get a little bit of your background. You worked for the county for a while.
I did. I've been with Summit County for 6 years.
Okay.
About 3 years in planning and 3 years in open space and trail. So it's nice because I kind of come already knowing the town of Frisco.
Right, which is good because you had that umbrella over kind of everything. So when you decided to make the move over to Frisco, what was the draw for you?
You know, it was just the small town. I love Frisco.
Yeah.
It's great. The main street, the new development, and just the quaintness, the marina.
Yeah.
Just, it's great having more of a focused area to work in.
Very cool,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, as you start to see kind of the town, I'm sure since you've been here 6 years,
Yes.
even in those 6 years,
Yes.
it's grown exponentially.
It has.
Yeah.
It's great. I can't believe how busy it is
Yeah.
inside.
Like
It's-
all the time.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very nonstop
Yeah.
in a good way.
No.
So yeah.
So can you give us some ideas of some of the things, some of the projects that you are really enjoying working on? I know you're only here for 3 weeks thus
Yeah.
far, but what have you kind of gotten your feet into that you're excited about?
I've already done a couple of, analyzing. They've been helping me out with what we look at for re-roof siding, simple things like that.
Right.
A conditional use for the new brewery that's proposed. I've been working on
Right.
getting them through. They'll be coming up to town council soon, and some sketch plans for some new additions to commercial buildings. So I got thrown right in, which
Yeah,
is great.
you did.
It's really
Well,
nice.
it's summer, and
Yes.
this is when everybody's really
Yeah.
trying to get in there and get all this done.
It is. It's definitely that peak time. So
So, you've been, how long have you been in the county?
6 years.
Okay, so
Yep.
when you came up
I
for the
moved
job.
out here for the job in Summit County.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And what do you do? What are your, what brought you out here?
I moved out here because Colorado sounded great. I lived in upstate New York, Minnesota, and Massachusetts, so I was kind of ready to try the West Coast for a while.
Yeah.
And now I'm settled. I met my husband out here. We have a 1-year-old daughter. We play hockey,
Wonderful.
ski, all the normal Summit County stuff.
all the good
So,
Summit County stuff.
Yes,
Well, good.
definitely. Yeah, it's great.
Well, Katie, we're excited to have you on board. I think this is such a cool time. When we were talking with Rick in the last segment, we were talking about Lake Hill, and that was one of the things off camera that you and I were talking about was housing.
Yes.
It's just such a big topic for everybody.
It is.
And then he was also talking about transportation in the transportation center, and these are
Yeah.
all things that you're involved in
They
as well.
will be, yep.
And
Yeah.
Rick is super passionate about it, as are many of the town council members.
Yeah,
and I think
it's great.
really a cool time for you to kind of get in here.
It is, and all the council members, the ones I've met, comes in all the time and say hi and introduce themselves.
Good.
So it's a really neat
Isn't that great?
town to work with.
Yeah.
it's
And you're right
excellent.
smack dab in the middle of town. You can
Yes.
access all these amazing businesses up and down the
Perfect
street.
for my lunch hour.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're sure happy to have you here.
Thank you.
I would love to be able to touch base with you in, say, 6 months or a year and kind
Okay.
of revisit and see how everything's
Yes.
going. It's always interesting to hear perspective from the very beginning
Yeah.
and then as you've delved in.
That sounds great.
All right.
It was great meeting you
Thanks,
today,
Katie,
too.
so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us. This was Katie Kent, and of course we had Rick Ihnken on. Thank you guys all for joining us and sticking around for the program. On behalf of the town of Frisco and everybody that made this happen, we appreciate it, and certainly we appreciate you tuning in. For the town of Frisco, I'm Shannon Fallon, and we'll see you again next month.